What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but welcome back to another episode of Community Kitchen, where we're cooking up the latest and greatest gaming news headlines, and who better to join me today than Aiden? Why don't you say what's up?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Sandwich, where when we jump in rank, we jump immediately from V to F.
V to F. That's how the alphabet works. But before we get into any of that, we'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you guys that are liking these videos, subscribing to Game Sandwich, and if you're new here, do all that and join our community Discord. Links to that is in the video description down below. Now, it is high time we give our first impressions about Pokémon Legends Z to A, or Pokemon ZA, as I like to call it, and I will always call it that because, I don't know, ZA just sounds fun.
He has an obsession with pizza. That's why.
I love the pizza. Cue the music, and you know
It's
what
the
music.
Italian in him.
Yeah, you know what music I'm talking about. But game came out last Thursday. We've been playing it nonstop over the weekend, and we're fairly deep into the story now, and we've had our experience with the new battle mechanics, and we wanted to talk about that today. Aiden, I want to pass it off to you first because I genuinely know where you were going to stand heading into this game, and suspicions are correct. But I want to get your thoughts here up first.
Okay, so, I mean, it might surprise you. It might not surprise you, depending on who you are. But, like, so I will give a compliment sandwich here. I will give a compliment sandwich. So first compliment is that I do genuinely enjoy the map. I think it's like, I think it's a fun area. I think there's a lot of verticality to it that's actually pretty interesting. Now, negative wise, that map is also extremely small, and they should also allow you to go outside of the map, and they should have introduced areas like they did in the original Pokemon Legends game, where you go to large map sections and can explore Pokemon in their natural habitat. The whole thing with that, with seeing Pokemon not in their natural habitats, but really just in a city format, seems kind of like seems kind of just dumb to me. It also just seems kind of lazy on the developers' part because they're just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna throw Pokemon in a city. There you go. But oh well. Then you know what? Compliment time for it. Um, the battle mechanics are okay. I find it kind of fun. Like I do find it fun running around with my Pokemon. But like that's as far as I can say the battle mechanics are that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin, what are your thoughts?
I want to somewhat have the structure to this where I'll talk about the map and, mechanics and stuff. So the map, to me, it's 50-50. We've talked about behind the scenes about how, and this is where I'll start off with the bashing of the game while you take the high road here. I think I know it's very inexcusable for the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, to produce this kind of map where everything is flat and like what the hell? Like straight up, like what is that? Where I believe at some point in time, again, this is just me in passing watching YouTube videos about this game, there was a video or there was a file for Pokemon Legends ZA where all the balconies, all the railings on the side, the molding, it was 3D modeled. And then I guess at some point in time, I do think it was the option where we want this map to load up completely all at once. We got to make it as streamlined as possible, make everything flat, and just straight up.
I'm glad that you point that out.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting you there, but I'm glad that you point that out because I specifically was talking to my wife about that exact same thing. If the Switch 2 has the power of the PS4, how can it not load up a 3D model of a damn window? Like I get, like the map's not that big.
No.
It really is not. So how can it not load up 3D models of all the windows and doors?
And then, like, that, I think, stems from the fact that, while, yes, this game is out on the Switch 2, there's a Switch 1 version, which equally runs, if not worse. So, I think that is the whole cause of having that cross-generation title, and I think that was a choice being like, oh, this game has to come out in the Switch 1, so let's just cut corners there.
Why didn't they just do a special version for the Switch 1 where it's flat, and the Switch 2 it's 3D modeled.
Exactly. These are questions we ask ourselves every day as far as how Pokemon goes and how that story goes. But I also, for the sake of the map, they boxed themselves in whenever they did this whole urban redevelopment storyline where it's like Pokemon and humans coexist, you're in the city. That kind of like, if you offered up those biomes to be like, oh, let's go out and go into like snow-filled mountains and like the lush forest, then you're getting away from what the story of the game is as far as urban redevelopment. You're rebuilding the city. Again, I haven't finished the whole story, so I don't know where this whole thing goes, but as far as what they're planting now, it's like you almost have to stay in the city to get that full impact and understand that.
I don't know. They could expand it and just like, because part of the story is that there's rogue megas and stuff. They could have like a storyline of, hey, they're doing an urban redevelopment, and then tie it in with rogue mega stuff with like it not just being rogue megas in the city, but rogue megas like out and about too in the area surrounding Lumiose or in like the different parts of the region too. And you just like can leave Lumiose to like, even if you just teleport to another town or something like that.
Yeah.
And like you're going to the town that's at the top of the mountain. I'm going to butcher everything about the Kalos region because I don't remember it that well.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever town's at the top of the mountains, there you go. Like if you just like selected, hey, I want to go there, and then you teleport to that town, and then it loads up a new area, you're in that town, and you have like a small vicinity outside the town you can go to. I would love that.
Yeah. No, and again, I've said this before, I don't think games should rely on DLC, but I do think at some point in time we're going to get DLC for this game that takes you outside of the city, or at least I would hope. The battle mechanics, and also just real quick, to your point about not being able to render like balconies and stuff like that, I also think it's a crime whenever you go through the city and you come up to this cafe and like you want to go in and buy like a croissant or whatever they offer. I think it's a crime you can't go into those buildings, especially when back in the days of the Game Boy Advance and like the Game Boy Color and all that, you could go into the Pokemart, buy something, and this even goes as far as the Pokemon centers in this game where you don't go into the thing. It's an alcove that's like carved out where everything's open air. And it's like,
I will say this, I do like the look of the Pokemon centers. I will give it that. Like,
yeah, it looks cool.
Like the look of that, and it's unique to that city. You know, I think that's interesting how it's like just like a little alcove. But I agree with you on the cafes and stuff. Like, I feel like there should be numerous buildings that you can just walk into. Again, if this thing has the power of the PS4, why don't we have that? I mean, think about like GTA.
Mm-hmm.
Like GTA is a massive city that loads all at once. There you go. Yes, it takes a little while. I know that, but and it's like faster loading now. But it loads all at once, and you can explore the entire city, and you can go in a ton of buildings, with some of them needing to load and some of them not needing to load. I fail to see the reason why, especially with the dumbed down graphics that they have, that they cannot just make a game exactly like the originals where like you can go in the cafe, you can go into just random people's houses too and just talk to them.
Yeah,
have them not question you being there.
It doesn't have to be every single door you can go into, but like when there are places that offer up like a clothing store or something like that. Again, I should have seen it coming whenever I was playing Scarlet and Violet, and they kind of had that same system where you walk up to the front door and then a menu pops up and then that's how you buy your stuff. But also at the same...
I was playing Sword and Shield and they didn't do that in Sword and Shield. You could go into the clothing stores in that one.
Yeah, but Scarlet and Violet, which I recently played, which is kind of good timing on my part to kind of compare and contrast, I should have seen that coming. I also, to talk about the battle mechanics now, because I could spend hours on end talking about this map, and it's going to get redundant after a while, but I also feel this is a game that's not meant to be played.
Can I ask you one thing about the map?
Yes.
What is your thought process on the whole scaffolding thing? That's the only question I have here. Because you can go up on the city, like the rooftops and stuff, and then like you can go like on the scaffolding and collect like items and stuff from it. Like, what's your takeaway with like the verticality thing like that?
To me, it's such a weird inclusion because what they're basically telling you is this is a platformer, and like try to get around this obstacle course. And to me, this game doesn't control that well to say, hey, here's some platforming. Like, here, go try to, like, get through this jungle gym. And it's more or less like, okay, you're utilizing your dodge roll to get across certain gaps. You're walking very slow across a singular, like, little beam. And then you're crawling up, like, what is it called? Mounting? Is it called mounting? Or when you get up on a box or something? There's a specific word I'm looking for.
Where you just jump up the slopes, I get it.
Yeah, there's a word for it. There's a gamer term that I'm losing right now. But I don't really care for it, but I also understand you gotta do those sections to, one, get items that are on those things, and then two, it unlocks another portion of the map where, like, you can go up to a certain rooftop where there is a rare Pokemon. So, like, it's just there to me. To me, I just don't think this game needed that, and maybe time and effort could have been spent somewhere else to be like, hey, let's do this instead, or make the controls feel like you're offering up platforming sections, make it feel better as a platformer. So
yeah, I mean, a jump button would kind of be nice.
Yeah,
but
or just don't control like a tank. Like this, the player, like, you're not as fluid as, and I know this is comparing two completely different games, but like Donkey Kong Bonanza, that is a platformer. That is, like, you feel fluid, you feel like you can kind of do whatever. This game, it's very much like, you go forward, you go backwards, you go side to side, and you're not here trying to jump and do whatever. So, I don't know. It's just, it wasn't needed. How about you?
yeah, I mean, I don't mind the rooftop sections. I think the scaffolding stuff is like okay at best. It's not really anything special to me. I find some of them kind of annoying because it seems like you need mechanics from later in the game where I'm assuming you get like a glide because they've been introducing glide stuff into their games. And they're rightfully suing people because they came up with the glide mechanic, obviously. But but yeah, so I just I think it's like I said, okay at best. I think that really the time and effort that they put into making the scaffolding puzzle things, they could have just taken that time and effort and just put it somewhere else, and it would have made the game better.
Or
so
just
like
focus
I
on
feel kind
making the
of
player
bad
feel
that they
better.
did that.
Yeah,
you know,
or just make the player move better. Like, it's very stiff. It's not like it's a thing where there's some like ledges where I try to climb up and he doesn't climb up unless I'm like straight on with the thing I'm trying to get up on. Like that thing in a platformer, it's like. And then there's like a mission where, spoiler, I guess, you can get a Froakie, and your whole like mission to gain his trust is to do like different platforming sections, different obstacle courses. And to me, by the end of that, like, there was the last course where you had to cross a beam to get to him, and it's like I got to that point, and because this game is so stiff, it's like I veered off by accident, and I have to like restart this whole thing, and it's like like I don't want to do this again.
For me, it was the gaps. For me, it was the gaps. Like, I kept like overshooting the gaps. If I'd roll, I'd be like, "Wee!" I'd be off of the.
Like
thing.
you're going if you mess up
with the balance beams.
Yes.
It was just solely the gaps. I was like, "Wee!" I'm going.
Yeah, and it's like in those instances where you have a beam, make it like not a mini game, but like a thing where it's like, oh, you gotta like tilt or whatever to like balance and then get across, to make it, whatever. Like in this case, I just feel like a robot going forward, and I don't know. That's just me.
That's like assuming that games like this like peaked in the like early 2000s with like Sly Cooper when they had that mechanic. Jeez.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this map is gonna get redundant. I just feel it. It's just gonna get. But again, this is a game where I don't think you're supposed to play it forever and ever. I feel like this is like the iterative, like, if I had to compare it to anything, Miles Morales for Spider-Man, like that game for that series, where it's like, you get Legends EA, it's gonna hold you over for a little bit, hit you with that Pokemon dopamine, and then, like, hey, Gen 10's coming out, bold prediction here, potentially end of this year, or no, not end of this year, end of next year. This time next year, we're going to be talking about Gen 10. It will be coming out. I'm going to just put that there.
I mean, along with like possible DLC for this, and then in Gen 10 we're probably gonna get like a jetpack Pokemon or something, or we're gonna get like a light bulb Pokemon or whatever. It'll be some dumb thing.
Now, battle mechanics. This is the big thing for this game. I'll be the first to admit up front, I despise this battle mechanics system. Mainly because I didn't understand what they wanted me to do. As far as like, moves are on cooldowns, you're not using PP anymore, like you can just kind of like maneuver.
Yeah, you're not using your PP.
You ain't using your PP no more. Crazy, right? But as time went on and as I understood, like, hey, this move's on a cooldown, but I can use this. Like, certain moves like Protect actually mean something now, and that's more like a parry versus, like, this is my move for this turn, and you can't get me. That is where it started to open up more, where I'm like, okay, this is somewhat, like, nice. Like, I gotta think. I gotta really understand type advantages and stuff like that. And to me, for what it's worth, I'm having a lot more fun with it now. And I also feel my hatred for it up front came from that long-ass tutorial section of this game.
Oh, yeah.
I think for Pokemon games now moving forward, I also understand this is a game for children. Let's not miss sight of this. The games are meant.
Should understand the audience of the adults that have come in.
I feel like, again, there should be a toggle before you go into this game where it's like, where the professor asks you, like, hey, are you a new trainer or are you coming, like, not coming from a different region, but like, have you hung around Pokemon all your life?
Yeah, are you new or are you experienced?
Yeah,
there you go.
It's
simple.
like, there you go, boom, like, get me out of the tutorial.
I mean, I don't know if they would even do that, just considering, like, if you look at the story side of things when it comes to, like, their tutorials, like, they're blending the tutorials into the story, like, really hard.
Yes.
Where early games, I'm talking, like, Fire Red and Leaf Green, like, just, well,
older
games.
Games.
Obviously. At first it was Blue and Red or whatever, but,
yeah,
like, those ones, you talk to Professor Oak, he just gives you the spiel, like, oh, yeah, this is a Pokemon, blah, blah, blah. You quickly go through that. It takes maybe, like, 5 minutes to get through his speech. Then from there, you go, you talk to him in a lab, you go, like, into the woods and, like, oh, learn to catch Pokemon, go get your Pokemon, you're off in the wild. Done. Simple as that. Like, that whole tutorial maybe takes you, like, a half an hour. Maybe. Yes. And that's if you're just going slow with it. But, in, like, I don't know about Sun and Moon. I don't remember Sun and Moon, honestly, to the greatest degree. But at least with Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield, it took forever to get through that intro. And even after I got through the tutorial, it still feels like I'm in the tutorial because every 2 seconds I'm being stopped by somebody.
Mm-hmm. But
it's like Hop is there going, hey, hi, I want to talk to you. I'm your biggest fan. I love you. I'm your stalker.
Yeah.
And then, like, in Scarlet and Violet, I remember also being annoyed that it was like, oh yeah, finally I'm out of it. And then it was like, nope. Being, like, walled off again. Okay, that's annoying. And now this one feels the same way, where it's like, hey, I'm finally making a little progress, and then, okay, I'm walled. This is annoying.
This is the direct result, and if you look at the timeline, when Pokemon chose to do more big open world stuff, like, that is what they assumed. Like, oh, our audience has never actually had this massive open world experience. We have to explain everything. Whenever they're the ones so far behind the ball where it's like, open world games have existed prior to you, Pokemon, I'm sorry to say. But that is when this long tutorial thing started. And
I don't see them doing this in Mario. I'm just saying, like, in Mario 3D platformers, when they have, like, open world areas like that, they don't do this.
Even Donkey Kong, for as new as that was, it was like, hey, you do the smashy things, and then, like, how they blended tutorials where they showed you, like, a little mini video in the corner. That made it so you can just go. Like, hey, figure it out, you got it, do it.
Yeah.
Pokemon is doing the hand holding here for sure.
And and Pokemon has always been open world. I'm sorry, like people who say Pokemon is not open world, it's always been open world. It literally always has been. So I don't know where
Yes.
Nintendo is getting off on the whole. Oh yeah, now we're making it open world. No, it's always been freaking open world.
I think it's the
It has.
non-linear aspect. That is
Yeah,
what they're
it's just
trying to
like
hinge
it's been
on.
a linear open world, and like making it non-linear. They still made it linear though.
Yeah. It's so
Even with
weird.
not making it linear, it's still linear.
Mm-hmm.
So like, come on, just like stick to the like the old style where it's like, oh yeah, it's linear, but it's like it's an open world. Sure, maybe we have a roadblock that prevents us from going to like, Lavender Town or
The
whatever.
Snorlax. Yeah. You gotta
Yeah,
wake them up.
exactly. Like maybe we have that, but that's a nice little puzzle to figure out.
Yeah. And again, it's like the reward system. Now, I want to continue on my negative trend where again, uh, the sun rises every day. Everyone knows it's going to do that. But Pokemon now, Generation 10, I will not accept anything less. It has to have voice acting. I cannot tell you during this tutorial thing, there was a moment in time where ZA, or however, Za, I'm going to call him, because obviously, he was doing like some type of monologue where he's like, oh, the kid was brought here for a specific reason. There was no background music, and it's just dead silence. Like, it is straight up nothingness. And whenever I scroll on Instagram, and I sent this clip to Andrew, I gotta send it to you, where I see these people online doing the voice acting for, like, he did Pokemon Legends Arceus, where the Giratina battle, and he voiced that character at the end, the villain. It made that moment that much better. And then whenever I see Pokemon Legends ZA, where there's your friend in the game, where she's talking to you, if you pick the male character, it's a girl, I can't help but think I would care more about these characters if I just heard them speak. And I get there's people that are like, I saw one comment which was absolutely insane, but I also understand. Because this game is for kids, I prefer my kid to read the thing versus... But at the same time, dog, like, this is the biggest IP in the world. Like, it makes the most money, the most recognizable, blah, blah, blah. And then, shout out to Andrew, I hope you're listening. You get games like Digimon Time Stranger. I played that game, and I can't help but think of it every time, because it's like, that is what you are starving the Pokemon fanbase of. And then you see the newest and greatest game from Pokemon, and it can't hold a candle to that, in my opinion. But what about you?
I mean, honestly, I kind of spaced on what you were talking about because I was trying to figure something out. But with the guy I heard voice acting, I'm gonna go off that. But
Go off that.
with the voice acting, yes, that like bugs the hell out of me that there isn't voice acting. And I was like, and the reason why I was like looking at stuff is because they did that trailer for Victory Bell where they had full voice acting in it, and I was like, okay, yes, I'm enjoying this, and it showed that they could have full voice acting. But I was trying to figure out if the like kid in the trailer is the same kid that like talks to you throughout the game, like your friend or whatever.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
It looks kind of like him.
They have
but I don't think
blonde
it's
hair
him.
with pink tips, kind of.
Like Urbane or whatever. Like,
oh, isn't he? Isn't he like the guy with the coat?
No,
with the Scrabby?
okay. Okay, so no, Urbane in Tawny is like if you're a male character, I guess you get Tawny. But no, okay, so that's not the same person. It's not the same person, but it
that's
looks
the
very
male
similar
version,
to
right?
Urbane.
Yeah, it's
it
the
looks
male version.
Like it looks similar to Urbane.
Still,
but like, anyway, they could have totally voiced him, and I would have been perfectly fine, and I'll be perfectly fine in Gen 10 if they voice the main cast, but then like leave you to read anything from NPCs.
like they
I'm
did with
perfectly
Zelda.
fine with that.
Like they did with
Yeah.
Zelda.
Yeah, like I'm perfectly fine with that. Like I'm like okay with hearing the main cast talk to you. I'm okay with like voiced cutscenes and everything, yada yada yada. Like I thought that cutscene was cool with like the lady talking about like Pokemon or whatever on the screen whenever you first get into the city. Like I thought that was kind of cool, and I also rightfully skipped it after like a minute because I was like, I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to just read what this lady has to say. So But I would have stuck around if she was like voice acting it, you know? I would
Like
have. I would have.
that scene where Fulbebe comes down and does that like power beam move when you're in that back alley. Like that's one of the scenes I seen voice acted or dubbed online, and I was like, man, the problem with recent Pokemon games is I forget each and every character. I cannot tell you. I mean,
Oh
Leon,
yeah.
maybe I remember from Sword and Shield because that was he was in the anime, and that's who Ash fought to win the championship. I only remember him because of that. I do not remember him because of the games. And every single character from, I'd say, Sun and Moon onward, even like Ruby and Sapphire, let's go all the way back. Outside of like Cynthia from back in those days, I do not remember them. And it, again, Game Boy Advance, period, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Cynthia, Giovanni. There's like the only two that you remember.
And I'm not calling out the Game Boy games or the DS games, but like for Switch era Pokemon games forward, there at least give me the main 5 characters or whatever you want to do. Like the villain, you, not even you. I would accept not you as the character, but everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, hey, throw me a bone and like this game has specific cutscenes. Do it there, at least for this game, and then Gen 10 take it a step further. But yeah, like that is such a big problem to like resonate with
Even
the
if they
characters.
didn't voice every time someone's talking to you, that's fine. Like, even if like the main characters aren't voiced whenever they're just like, oh, just like you're talking to them on the street or whatever,
Yeah.
that's fine, whatever. But give us a cutscene, like. So, spoil for you here, Kevin, at least. After your whole thing with Vinny, where you jump up in rank from V to F, making the whole rank system completely freaking pointless. After that happens, you have a team meeting. That whole team meeting, you're just sitting there, like, clicking through dialogue
Yeah.
bubbles. Like, them going, okay, there's a Rogue Mega here, Rogue Mega there, Rogue Mega here, blah, blah, blah. I skipped, like, 90% of it because I just did not care. And none of the characters are interesting to me. But anyway, so with that being said, like, I just like would have found it so much more interesting if it was actually a cutscene. We didn't have dialogue options, and it was like because you can choose dialogue options, but that's the same too.
And even
Like,
if you
every
pick
time.
one, even if you pick one, it's like you still got to do the other one too. So it's like you, like, why?
Yeah,
Just
like
play it out for
it's
me.
literally the two things. Like quite literally, what the one kid, I don't remember his name. He's the one who's like, oh man, I'm all about style or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't care. But he likes like some sort of like streamer, and yes, they make a call to streamers in this or whatever. But fine, whatever. But like he likes this like live streamer or whatever, and he wants to join her live, and the lady or whatever is like complaining about it, and he's like, you don't get it, I need to be a part of chat and everything and blah blah blah. And then you're supposed to reply to that, and your reply is either, oh yeah, I like perfectly get it, or like, oh yeah, spoken like a true fan. And it's like, what if I wanted to say, no, screw you, you're an idiot?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to, but I'm just saying, what if I did? What if in that moment I wanted to be like, that's dumb? No, Nintendo doesn't give us the option for that. Game Freak doesn't give us the option for that. So honestly, if your dialogue choices are going to be two of the same things, I don't want it to be like a little like check to make sure that we're paying attention or whatever. I want it to just be, hey, they're chatting. Let's have a cutscene talking about where the megas are. Blah blah blah. Done. It would have gone so much faster. Would have been cooler too.
And this is the thing we've talked about before, where it's like, make the battles feel like battles. Like, we've talked before about how in Sword and Shield, when you're in the Colosseums, and the presentation in that game for giant battles that mean something, top tier. I love that stuff. But, like, throw in an announcer, or, like, whatever. I get with this game, you're not technically doing the gym stuff, and, like, battles are more on the fly and whatever. But, like, for like these major battles that are scripted or like part of the story progression and not just some random Joe Schmo, why not throw in like a quick little quip of dialogue there or something like that? It goes a long way. And I think, I don't want to say that Pokemon has to be hearing this stuff, because like Gen 10 could come around and we can get still the same stuff. And honestly, right now, that is where I am leaning towards. Like, I don't, I don't think they care, like, at this point, to be like, oh, but maybe this stuff is so loud now and so prevalent, maybe they got something up their sleeve. But again,
Maybe.
and real quick for your thing, the dialogue, bringing up Digimon again, because again, this conversation is still going to come up. There should be a toggle where it's like, go through the dialogue. I should not have to sit there and go beep, 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 beep for every little bubble. At this point in time, quality of life things like that would go such a long way.
I mean, that one I don't mind as much because, like, allows you to just go at your own pace with it. But it's just like, but I agree with you there a little bit to, like, let it go if you want it that way. But, you know, let there be, like, a toggle, whether or not you want to actually pay attention to it or you want to just skip through.
Yeah.
You know, that's fine. And, like, Andrew's been telling us that, like, Digimon Time Stranger is getting, like, way more praise than this Pokemon game. And you know what? I think it's a long time coming. I understand that, like, you know, Bandai Namco is probably going to get sued by Nintendo for whatever reason because Nintendo thinks that they have a right to do it.
They're gonna find
like
it.
I get that. That's probably going to happen because Nintendo's nothing but a bunch of like little whiny babies that like want to complain about any time anybody ever does anything against Pokemon. But like really, if you haven't given it a chance yet, like I haven't given it a chance, but I still even know it's better because I've watched people play it at least. But like, give that like Digimon Story Time Stranger a chance if you like you're wanting a game that is like Pokemon, that is honestly better than Pokemon at this day and age.
Yeah.
Like, do that because it is leagues and bounds better than anything that like Game Freak's putting out right now.
And I say all of what I've said before prior, but now to kind of encapsulate everything, I think this game is better than Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm having...
No, it is not.
Sorry.
Don't you dare say that. That is blasphemy.
I am having a far better time with this game than I did with Arceus. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because whenever we got Arceus, it's kind of like your first love, where it's like, oh, I've never experienced something like this before. It is so great. It is so ba-ba-ba. That game performed horribly on the Switch 1.
Oh, it did. It did. Don't
I
get
look
me
at,
wrong, it did.
And again, I'm playing on new hardware, so I guess the curve is different there. But I am having more fun with the story, with, you know, going through the paces of like collecting Pokemon. And I don't know, I'm just having more fun in this game than I did with Arceus for whatever reason.
The game where you're stuck in a little city instead of seeing actual like magnificent looking maps. I mean,
magnificent.
There were massive maps in that one that were actually good. They had verticality to them.
All I'm saying is I'm having fun right now more with ZA than I did with Arceus at the start.
Well, this is where we differ in opinion on that. Jeez.
Hey, I told you I might surprise you. I might surprise you.
Next thing you're gonna tell me is that like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is worse than this.
Worse than this game?
Yeah. Well, actually, sorry, better than this. I mean,
no.
I think this one's better than Scarlet and Violet.
I do too. I'm right there with you. I think it's better than Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, like I'm having more fun here. And maybe that's because I do think, again, the story that they're presenting is a little better. In my opinion, I don't know. Again, different strokes for different folks, obviously. But to me, I don't know. Just the story and what's going on here, I'm having a lot more fun with. But that's just me.
I mean, I give it to you there. Like, the story is interesting in the sense of, like, I do like that there's like the whole rogue mega thing, and that is actually something that feels like a little bit impactful for the city. It's ultimately not going to be impactful at all, and it's not going to like send people screaming and going like, "Oh my God, there's a rogue mega" or anything. We're not going to have anything like that, but at least it's like seemingly interesting, you know. Yeah. But I don't know, man. I don't know with this because like it's not like amazing. Like I don't hate it. And, yeah. Like, it may sound like we hate this or something. Like, I don't hate it. I just think that, like, Nintendo's and Game Freak's new motto is, like, to put the most minimal effort they can into anything they produce.
Yeah.
Like minimal effort, maximize profits. Like that's like their slogan here now, where it's just like because there's no way, and like I dare say, like at least like with Pokemon like Legends Arceus, it felt like there was more in Legends Arceus than in this one, and they want you to pay more for this.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
that's like
70,
part of what
80.
really bothers me is that like there's less in this to experience with a higher price tag here. And Arceus had like multiple large biomes that you could explore for large periods of time actually. Like I explored them for a while. And it felt like there was like more Pokemon in that one too. And like yeah.
So
Also, why are there no regional variants? I'm just curious. Like, did they
yeah,
stop that?
they chose megas. Like I feel like it was one or the other, where it's like you get the regional, or
So they're not creative enough to do both. I mean,
yeah,
they're not creative to even do good megas,
the
but like
megas are.
they lack creativity to the point where they can't even do both in the same game.
And just like a final statement for me, if you're going into this game, like you haven't gotten it yet, you're just like on the fence and you're listening to us yap about it. If you're going into this thinking Pokemon is going to reinvent the wheel with Pokemon Legends ZA and give you that next iterative step in the Pokemon franchise within this game, you couldn't be any more wrong. That is for, I hope to God, Generation 10, where they're like, okay, like, I'm going to be bold and say that game only comes out for the Switch 2, because in the past, every time they release a new big generation, they're like, that is for that console. It's not going to come out in the Switch 1.
I don't know. I mean, for Pokemon, well, yeah, I guess for Pokemon Sword and Shield, it was only on the Switch, but like, yeah, I mean, they had two for the Switch, like two big generation games.
That game or that console lasted way longer than it should have. But what I'm trying to get at here is going into this game, do not expect the big voice acting changes. Do not expect graphic overhaul, blah, blah, blah. Do not expect some giant earth-shaking moving story. I am personally going to wait for Gen 10 to cast judgment on that front, where it's like, can they listen? Can they do this? And right now, for everything they've presented so far, that is a big no. Like, I am not.
Don't have your hopes up for Gen 10.
No,
Just
no,
don't.
absolutely. Set the
Like
bar
I said,
low.
minimal efforts for maximum profits.
Set the bars low, and then work from there. But yeah, like, long story short for me, I knew this game wasn't going to reinvent the wheel. I was just looking for a fun Pokemon game to play and kind of, like, get lost in for a month or two. And so far, it's been that. Am I going to sit here and say it's like an 8 out of 10 or whatever? Absolutely not. This is a solid 6, 5 at that, where it's like it's a fun game. Go play it. Like, it's a good time.
It's a way to pass the time. It's not anything that's going to give you like a ton of like excitement out of anything, unless you're a kid. I mean, I'm sure kids will get a lot of excitement out of this. But like, if you're anyone that has like functional brain cells past the age of like 12, then you know.
It just set your expectations low. Don't think they're gonna just blow their load, for lack of better terms, on this game. Like, this isn't gonna be it. Like, it's on the Switch, the current or the old one. Like, they're not gonna do that. So I don't know. Do you have any final things?
One of the biggest, I don't know, one of the biggest sad parts to me is that I know people personally who they will play this game, and they probably have played this game and beaten this game, and they are going, oh my god, it's the greatest Pokemon game ever made because Pokemon and Game Freak and Nintendo do no wrong. I do know people like that, and I think that that's stupid. You should always look at criticism where criticism's due and everything. And, you know, you should always, like, expect to criticize the things that you love, because if you don't criticize it, then that means that they just get worse.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, ultimately, though, like Kevin said, it is like a 5 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10 game. It's not like it's fun. You can pass the time with it, but it's nothing that's going to be like groundbreaking to you. It's not going to be like anything that reinvents the wheel here. And I also think it's sad that like IGN is currently working on a review, and it's probably going to end up being a 9 out of 10 for them. Yeah. So I think you should listen to more people like us, or people like on TikTok and stuff, who like are talking about the game, about their own experience with it, versus like probably IGN.
Hey, who knows? But
I don't know. That's my opinion.
It would be well worth it to revisit this video come Generation 10's announcement, which I do think Pokemon Day next year or this year. I don't know when they hold it, but the next Pokemon Day, we're gonna get the Gen 10 stuff. Mark my words. But yeah, like, again, just drop a comment down below if you've been playing this game. Let us know what you think. Join our Discord. We can talk about this further there, because we're always hanging out, chatting it up with our community. But, yeah, this has been a lengthy episode, so if you stuck around, thank you for doing that. But that about does it here for this episode of Community Kitchen. I've been Kalo, joined by Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody. I'll see you in the city.
If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.